Do you know who Teresa Tam is?
No.
Any guesses? It's the health minister. We're just seeing if...
Oh, I know. Oh, I do know her. I do know her, yeah.
You think she's doing a good job? Or has done a good job over the last couple of years with everything?
There's a guy with mustard all over his face asking people to buy him hot dogs.
Do you know who Teresa Tam is?
Who?
Teresa Tam?
No, I never heard of her.
Okay. Thank you. Do you know who Justin Trudeau is?
Oh, yeah.
Do you know who Teresa Tam is?
No, sorry. It's okay. I do not.
Very cool.
Should I?
It's the health minister.
Oh.
Do you know who Teresa Tam is?
I don't know.
We're finding that a lot.
Never heard of her.
It's the health minister.
Health Minister of Canada, right?
Yeah.
Okay, nice to know that.
Who the fuck is that?
Teresa Tam. No, I'm sorry.
Do you know who Teresa Tam is?
Absolutely not.
Who?
Teresa Tam?
Who's that? Teresa Tam?
No.
No guesses at all?
Teresa Tam. Sounds political.
Do you think she deserves to make $372,000 a year?
Probably not. I do have a biased opinion because I work in healthcare. So I will stay neutral in my response to that.
How do you think she did this whole time?
During COVID, I mean, how has any country really responded? Not very well, but I think overall she did okay, but like I can't say anyone who would have done better, so.
If the mask mandates were brought back, yeah, I would.
Okay, thank you. Anything else you want to add?
Everyone stay safe, get vaccinated.
Oh,
How many vaccines do you have?
I have 3. Planning to get the 4th soon.
so every 3 months then?
And how old are you?
I'm 22 years old.
There you go, folks. There you have it. Stay safe. Get your vaccines. Why aren't you wearing a mask right now?
Because I'm outside.
That's when it's most dangerous.
Do you think so?
No.
Thank you, ladies.
That's okay. Thank you.
Bye.
If they said to put it back on, would you?
I wouldn't like it, but I will.
Okay. Anything else you want to say?
I just wanted to say thank you.
Who the fuck is your movie?
Pretty big channel.
From where?
The internet. From Toronto.
Internet. Everybody's still watching the internet?
I think so. I mean, are you watching TV?
For what?
I don't know. What are you watching?
My girl.
Okay.
My bitch.
All right. Very cool.
6 hours.
All right.
What are you watching?
A lot of comedy, I think.
So,
Welcome back to a brand new and very special episode of Andrew Says. They're all special, aren't they? I'm here
How
with...
could you welcome them back if it's the first episode?
It's not the first episode. It's a new version of the same show. Ben Banks is here. We've also got TV's Lincoln J in the house. Lincoln J.
Andrew, let's do this.
We went out earlier in the fine streets of Toronto with Ben Double Fists his drinks here. What's your flavor today?
I don't know. Whatever you gave me. I wish you gave me the one with the real sugar. The
real
aspartame causes dementia and shit.
So we went out and asked people if they knew who Teresa Tam is, as Ben drops a can. It's fine. We'll clean that up in post.
You don't need to cut that.
I know. That
It's
was
kind of a
that
good
was a joke about it spilling. We'll clean it up in post.
The show's already better than your old show.
It's 3 layers deep. Thank you. Were you surprised that absolutely 0 people knew who Teresa Tam is?
No, I'm not surprised because I told you to ask people that with the specific reason that I knew that everybody was going to say no.
Well, why don't they? That seems like a thing. Like, it's the person who told you you have to wear a mask and get vaccinated.
No, only like idiots like me and you and, and people who listen to this know who she is because they're pissed off. Whereas everybody else was just going along with it. So they never really knew anybody's name. They just looked at the TV and saw, you know, like, Cruella, what was the Davila? Cruella Davila?
Eileen Davila.
Eileen Davila. They don't know who these people are. They're just like, they told me to do it and I did it. And So they don't need to know who they are. But if you're pissed off about it, you're like, yo, what's your name? Oh.
We also started asking people.
Delilla?
We also started asking people if they would put a mask back on, and like when they took it off, and if they would put it back on. And everybody said they would. Everybody that we asked said that they would do it. Probably only like 10 people, but they all said they would put a mask back on if the government asked to. Is that just Toronto, though, do you think?
I think it's I think it's a lot of people. I don't know if it's just Toronto. I think it's, I think that outside of Toronto, people aren't trying to be anything, so they can say be their real opinions. So like I feel like that's why it's like you go to the country and more people are like, no, I'm not going to put it back on if they told me, because they're not trying to, like, you talk to somebody in Toronto, it's like they're running for something, they're auditioning for something, they're trying to get a career, they're trying to be at university and climb the academic ladder. That's why so many people don't want to talk. I said that to you. It felt like, if this was 2015 and you went up to people and you were doing man on the street stuff, so many of them would come up and talk to you. But now everybody's terrified of cancel culture and like, oh, I have a job, I can't go on TV and say anything, my opinion, like short of, standing outside of a burning building and going, yeah, that's a fire and that's just not good.
It seems like the cool answer now is to have no answer. Oh, I don't know much about that, or I don't want to give that opinion. And even some of the people that do give their opinion, they say, well, I don't know, I'm not an expert, or I'm biased. So like it's like nobody wants to actually be responsible for having an opinion. Does that make sense?
Well, people feel guilty for having an opinion now. They don't feel safe, being themselves because of all these societal pressures. So yeah, people are just messed up in the head. They don't know how to tell people that they feel a certain way because they're worried about offending, or they're worried about sounding off, or sounding, bias, or all these words that people are just constantly throwing around that you can be, you're what's the other one where you're
a bigot?
You're minimizing, or you're whatever. So yeah, and then when somebody has an opinion, that's why when I do stand up and people laugh really hard when I say something that's like, it's a joke, but it's like an actual point of view, they laugh because a lot of them have that point of view. Maybe not all the time, but they've thought those things and they're afraid to just express themselves.
Do you think that eventually goes away into nobody caring? Because my other question is going to be, aren't there already way too many people with opinions? I mean, everyone's got a podcast.
Yeah.
We're on right now. Everybody's an influencer.
Well, I think it's all about having the most interesting way of not having an opinion.
Yeah. Well, the one person we spoke to, I felt like, was speaking that way. Doesn't want to offend anybody. Like 16 different qualifiers as to how they're not qualified to make the statement, and then give the statement followed by, I'm not sure, I don't know.
Well, it's just the younger generation doesn't understand that, if you imagine being 18 or whatever when the pandemic hit, and now you're 20, like 2 years later, or 3 years, however many years later it's been. I don't know, I just hear people laughing. Are they laughing?
There's people yelping.
Am I being hilarious?
It sounded like a coyote, I think.
The people who are young through the pandemic and weren't on like team, this is a little weird, and we're just totally with it, they're going to be I think they're going to be rule followers for a long time, probably till they're like in their 30s, and then they're like, oh, Well,
especially if somebody else gets voted in, if Double P Pierre gets voted in, I don't think things will change radically, but I think all of a sudden some of the protections, such as, like,
it's amazing.
That's hate speech. We're getting interrupted by so many sources.
David Menzies is dressed up like the big-titted.
Can we get him on camera?
Oakville.
Can we get David Menzies over here? Yeah. Thanks. What was I saying now? Great start. No, I was saying that
the reason I'm here is because CBC won't work with me, and I don't even care. I want to be on Little Mosque on the Prairie. I want to be.
What about Kim's Convenience?
I do anything but this. I do Kim's Convenience. I do Corner Gas.
Well, how did you feel about Canada last comic standing, last person to laugh?
I love how you
whatever?
guys are just doing all this stuff about the person with the breasts like so late. Like it's been like 3 weeks, 4 weeks. How long's it been?
I don't know. Let's talk about
5
that,
or
though.
10 minutes. He's very busy.
Yeah, I know. David
He stole my
Benson's-
idea. I literally did this already. I already
And
did this. Got like 120,000 views on Facebook.
how did you hook up with Alex Stein over that? He interviewed you as
I
the
started.
Oakville
I
teacher.
started talking to him in Texas, like in 2020, late 2021. I kind of met him. I've heard about his. I saw his video and like I messaged him and I was like, and he had actually saw some of my videos and he liked those, and so we've kind of been following each other. I had him on my old podcast, which I deleted for having too many opinions.
Deleted that episode. Or
We're
the
starting
whole
a.
thing?
I deleted all of the episodes. I'm starting a new podcast. It's called The Bankas Show. You can subscribe to it on YouTube, youtube.com/The Bankas Show. And we're going to have opinions, but we're not going to be reckless because
Sounds like censorship, Ben.
well, it is because I don't want to, I want to have a,
So you do want to
career.
work on a CBC then?
Of course I do. It's a better, because I could use that
change
to
it?
get out of the country. I
That's
feel like
fair.
Rebel News, I'm going to put on a resume to get out of this country, and they're going to be like, you're a fucking white terrorist.
That's true. That's what we all get labeled. TV's Lincoln J.
Not censored, though. More so like this. Just having like an opinion that isn't just, because so many of my opinions, not necessarily the later version of my podcast, but when I was in the middle of lockdown, like I was going hard, just being like swearing and over saying certain words and over opinionated.
It's kind of
It
like
was an over opinionated thing. It was just,
it's like if Will Smith like slapped a guy like the first year into Fresh Prince or something. It's probably not a good idea for his career. You know what I mean?
pretty much.
That's how I bring it all the way back around to Will
There
Smith.
we go.
But the Oakville teacher thing, I don't know why I got so annoyed by it, but people saying all these things like, oh, he was a good teacher, and then he wanted to do something. He was sick of the woke stuff, and he got in trouble. And then
Is that even true though?
see, that's the rumor, and that's why I wanted to bring in
Lincoln, look it up.
No, Lincoln was there. Lincoln's
Lincoln was there.
cameraman.
He was molested by the teacher.
That comes from 4chan, doesn't it?
No, he's not. I don't think he's faking it. He's allegedly he's been dressing like this for years. Apparently it was only on the weekends before, but now is going full out.
It's like a heartbeat. His computer is a fucking heartbeat.
You're stepping all over people's toes. Yeah, so that all those claims just came from a random 4chan post. That's like the only source. There's no interviews with him. There's no interviews with students. There's no other claims out there other than this random 4chan post. And I was listening to what podcast? King and the Sting. And even they were just like, yeah, this whole backstory, and he used to be this cool teacher, and he wanted to get back at the system because they can't tell him no. As stupid as it is, and the school board's like, we stand behind these people or this guy. It's just that like that inside of the narrative isn't true, and I don't know why that bothers me so much.
What is true? That he's
just some random
she. It's a she.
That's what's true.
It's a she. It's a she. Dude, we're just avatars. I think we're just avatars on this earth. We're
Like
already in the metaverse. We're already in the metaverse.
So like
that's
a
why
Matrix
people
sense.
people don't want to associate with what they were born as, because it's like all of a sudden we're just in a video game and people. Imagine telling everybody, yes, that this is a simulated reality. This is a video game that we're living in, and it's totally random. And yes, it's just that's what life is. Like, people are gonna start wearing stuff. People are gonna start putting stuff on. That's all I'm saying.
It's true.
That's why there was another
see what
teacher.
you're
Wasn't
saying.
there a teacher in Toronto who's dresses up like a stuffed animal?
Lincoln, is that true?
Lincoln. There's a teacher in, I think, Toronto who is a furry. This is a furry. This is the next phase of becoming. It's like being in a video game chat room, and people have the avatars of like somebody's.
VR chats?
I'm a cat. I'm a dog.
What was the meme from the VR chats? My queen.
Not that I'm associating.
A teacher wore blackface in 2021 in Toronto, in Parkdale,
Blackface is
in
the
Parkdale,
only-
in Parkdale.
Blackface is the only. Like in the metaverse, you won't be able to just be blackface.
No.
You'll have to either be black, or
be Justin Trudeau avatar.
you could probably do that.
When you think about that, the fact that that isn't talked about more, I think like Jesse Waters refers to him as president or prime minister blackface, but any other politician, Jesse Waters, a Fox host.
Okay.
In any event, no looking at Lincoln. He's off in a different.
This not known, not very well known host.
He's a
from
very
Fox
well
News.
known host, actually. You just don't know.
What's his name? Jerry Waters.
Jesse Waters. The point
Lincoln,
was,
look it up. How many views is Jesse? How many followers does he have?
A lot, I bet you. Like 1 million, I bet you.
Probably.
Jesse Waters has. What do you think, Andrew? How much?
On what?
Twitter.
Well, on Twitter, 800,000. I'm gonna guess.
I'm gonna guess 700.
1.8 mil.
There you go. Who's this guy?
Okay, well, I don't know who he is.
That wasn't even the point. You took this point and extrapolated it, and we're on a 10-minute tangent for Jesse Waters. But the point was, nobody talks about how the prime minister wore blackface so many times he can't even. It's almost a meme to even mention it over and over again because it's so ridiculous. How come people don't mention this more? That's
because
absolutely insane. Imagine Trump did. I hate to do that, but
It's the
imagine
same
Donald
idea.
Trump did that.
It's the same. It's similar tactics as, like in a country like say China, where you know that the government or you know that the leader has done really bad things and hurt people, and they're just like, no, he's amazing. But here instead, it's like a little different. It's just he did blackface a bunch. He didn't.
He's done a lot of stuff though.
I mean, he's done stuff, but he hasn't done we don't have like a Xinjiang province, No. We don't have. But I'm saying that there are countries where it's that bad, and they're still like, no, he's great. So
It's because the governments own the media.
Talk to your
and
microphone there, dude.
The governments own the media, and most people aren't getting their information other than the TV. As you saw, most people today didn't even know who Teresa Tam was, so people just aren't paying attention. So that's how Justin Trudeau's able to get away with wearing blackface, because most people just don't care. They want to watch Netflix. They want to go to the bar. They don't care.
Wrapped up in
But is it-
what he did, and in some ways, isn't that the way it should be, where you could do blackface? And I think the bigger issue isn't that he wasn't fired. The bigger issue is that everybody else who does the same thing that he does is fired. So the fact that you know what I'm saying? So it's like, yes, either he should be fired or everybody else, the teacher who wore blackface as a joke, maybe they shouldn't be fired because the prime minister didn't get fired for it. But that's not me saying that is the hypocrisy of it, I think.
Well, you kind of counteract that these days if you're a politician by just saying the lines. So his thing after was, I've always been surrounded by layers of privilege and I didn't know who I was hurting and blah, blah, blah. The new premier of Alberta, she came out and said the other day that the unvaccinated were the most persecuted people in the history of Canada. And today she comes out with a statement saying, no, obviously I didn't mean other than oppressed minorities in the country. So even conservatives have their lines that they think they have to read if they get in trouble. They can't ever, I don't know why she would say that in the first place. I mean,
because people want to say dumb things now. The dumber the thing, the more attention you get for it. The bigger the flub, the more offensive by accident. It's almost like we did the misinformation versus disinformation. There should be a word for, being viral without knowing it, because that's but without necessarily politicians are viral all the time, but they don't necessarily know why. They're just being politicians, and that stuff is just so inflammatory to people that they create rebel news. So right? Like there's somebody has to listen and care.
That's true. I just think in terms of the Teresa Tam thing, if somebody's telling you have to stay inside and put on a mask, you don't even know who that is. That seems a little weird to me. That's like you go to work and they're just like, you got to stay home, and you say why? Oh, the boss said so. Oh, okay, but you don't even know who your boss is.
What it has to do with what? The mask? What?
What?
What did you said it has to do with mask wearing?
I'm saying, how do you not even know who the person who's forcing you to wear a mask and stay at home is? How do you just not have even the curiosity to be like, oh, who's saying that? The government.tm? Okay.
I think it's Lincoln said it. People are dumb, man. Like they're not trying to be. It's not like we live in, the Renaissance where people are gathering around with their tea and the Parisian shops going, what do we think of the king? And should we get rid of him? And do you understand the policies of the North? And we don't give a crap. Like we just literally go around every day. You know what people think about during the day? Most people, they're like, where am I going to stop to take a shit on this hour-and-a-half drive that
I've never had that problem.
To my,
I'd like to point out, I've never not
you commute.
Yeah, but I've never not been prepared for a commute in terms of doing that.
But I'm just saying that is like a bigger issue, or like, where am I? Should I get Burger King but like people aren't going, oh my God, Teresa Tam.
Yeah, but
she's made a new announcement.
What about, oh my God,
And the people who are following me on Instagram,
closed.
thank you very much. Please give me money on Patreon.
Oh my God, my restaurant's closed. I can't pay my bills. Those people are going to know. There's got to be some sort of
if their restaurant's closed, it's been closed for a bit.
People have a responsibility. Like, you just don't care about the things that happen to you. That's a person who doesn't have rent to pay, or a person who doesn't,
No, they don't care until it starts affecting them directly or affecting you directly, basically.
But even then, they don't care. Like, rent is at. We were driving around on the way here, and we saw a place that said bachelor available. It was like $2,000.
Yeah.
We looked it up for fun, and are there, there's like 2 protests a year where people are like, lower the rent, and then they just don't, and then they just keep raising it, and the politician will be like, we're gonna do a thing where they can only raise it by 40% a year or whatever crazy.
I think it's like 3%.
I know, but I'm just saying that
their argument, though, that's why there's a problem, is because even
the idea that it's never going to get less expensive to live, like,
well,
okay,
it should. Things can actually change that. I hate this idea that things can't change.
Well,
it's inevitable.
They can, but
inevitable.
Are they going to?
That's a better
inflation
question.
is a
the worldwide.
It's a symptom of of modern monetary policy, and mixed with them trying to lower or raise the interest rates, and it's people are going to start buying homes now, right? But if the interest rates keep going up, then a lot of people it's just going to be a disaster, right? So
you should just start your next set with that. Just come on. First thing you say on stage. The inflation rate is a product of monetary policy. See how many laughs you get with that.
Is it not true?
It's true. I just thought that'd be funny.
Sorry, I'm trying to sound smart too. What am I supposed to just be? Am I just a clown to you?
That's right. You are.
Sorry, I'm smarter than you.
The guy was yelling. I want to let everybody know what a day with Ben Banks is like. Yelling at me to buy him lunch. Yelling at me to buy him snacks.
Because I do all this for free. Do I not?
No, I pay you handsomely.
People are entertained right now. People are at home going, I'm loving this. This is so much better than Andrew's old show that I never watched.
Than Andrew's. That's not true. You've been on it and people watched.
That episode.
You get mean.
Am I being mean? I'm joking.
You get mean. You get it's a ball rolling of mean. Like
Lincoln said no.
That's fair.
I know you have like small man syndrome or something.
That's fair. It's fair. I'm not even the smallest. Is that what a small man syndrome would sound like? Anyways?
You have no idea how good you are at getting made fun of, in a way. It's actually it's so entertaining.
That's why
you look dead in the camera too while we're laughing, and you're like, "Not true."
That's why I want to do
what you did. You created a
Exactly.
great little space for this. This is exactly what you want.
Thank you.
You're living
Got
your
my
dream right now.
My signed book.
This is literally. I feel like I'm in. If I don't see the lights and stuff, and I just look at you and go like this, it looks like I'm in a dream world. Of
The lights are
Andrew's
pretty bright.
dream world of the perfect podcast with Ben Bankas, and we're gonna cut it all out. We're only gonna leave the
I've become
really
a
boring parts.
British imperialist.
I think I think you do have a British voice in your head.
There is a British voice, man. It comes out
The
all
guy,
the
the
time.
Rebel News guy that you got.
Yes, Rebel News.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, it sounds. Rebel News sounds sexier with. Well, and I guess everything does with a British accent. But
Rebel News, huh? Go
is there a French? Is there a French Rebel News?
Yeah, Alexa Rafroy.
Oh, like Quebec, France.
Yeah. No, there's no France French.
Lincoln's like watching TikToks.
Yeah. He's watching misunderstood TikToks. What's your most popular? Who has been more popular? Your Teresa Tam impression, Trudeau, Ford?
Like statistically?
Statistically.
That's tough because probably I guess the Teresa Tam videos are probably pretty popular. People say they're popular. I don't know.
The last time you did Doug Ford for us, that hit a couple 100,000.
What was that?
You talking over Doug Ford doing a speech.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, my daughter. I can't even do it, but talking about his daughters.
I kind of like, oh my dog. Some of that stuff that I made, I'm just so crazy. Some of the stuff I was saying, but
Did they ever reach out to you, the daughters?
one of the daughters followed me in for a bit, and I think she was like, "You're funny" or something, or retweeted something. But then, of course, they're like, their parents are probably like, "You can't support." But it's also like, what? Like, I'm honestly like, I think there's some of the videos that I made that were like, okay, that's insane.
Like
but
what?
I don't know, just like there's
stuff
like
about
ones
him
where it's
eating
just like him
Timbs.
farting and stuff, and like.
The ones where he's talking about eating Tim's all this, like, gotta stop by and get some Tim's. It's like somewhere between Bubbles and somebody else.
It's just so stupid. But it is, again, I think it was just how a lot people laugh because they're like, when they watch him, that's really what they hear is Bubbles. He is kind of like just that pure, pure Canadian, like, oh, we're from Etobicoke and we're, my kids played hockey, my grandson's on the ice already. Like it's just that's what you hear when he's like, we're locking her down. And he never was like that. He was like always about to laugh every time he would talk about, he'd be like, we are gonna have to go into lockdown, and he would say, he'd act like he was so sad about it, but you could tell that he really just wanted to be like because he's it's funny, really. I mean, dude, I would trade everything, all my comedy success, which isn't even that much considering I'm on this show right now, but I would trade it all. I would trade being on this show to stand in front of the whole country or province and tell them that we're locking it down. I think that's the reason. I think that's the true reason that I'm so good at making fun of them, is because I truly wish I was them. I wish I could say, no, you're not getting. None of you should go
It's
outside.
like a Cartman fantasy.
Well, yeah. Because, I don't know. Have you ever been to Niagara Falls and you look around, you're like, we should be locking down maybe more.
No, I actually haven't been to Niagara Falls. And I'm not
Or
kidding.
do you ever go to like a really crowded place and you're just like,
Yonge and
this
Dundas
is-
Square
Yonge and
today.
Dundas Square, perfect example. Did you not think that some of those people should potentially just be locked in their homes and not be allowed out?
I just
like
wonder
ever?
what they're doing on a weekday.
Like the
with
mustard
that.
guy, they're the Chinese. It's just
Yeah,
funny to
that might not
explain.
be- that might not be good enough to be in the video. So why don't you
It's
explain?
fun.
it?
It's funny that maybe you could put it on the screen,
Yeah.
but there's a poor Chinese guy, and he's walking around. He looks like he has bells, and he's got mustard all over his face, and he's going up to people going, "Can you buy me a hot dog?" And it's just like, yeah, that's fucking hilarious, but you shouldn't be outside. There should be
So
like a government facility for that guy
So you're
to live out the rest of his life
I
there.
mean, that's an actual argument people have of they need to bring back.
They used to
more
have that. They used to
insane
have
asylums.
yeah, they used to. And I mean, no, obviously, like my true opinion is that those are horrific and we shouldn't. But there's part of me that's like, maybe we test it out, or maybe we do an experiment on a few people. Like I'm just saying that things that we're all pissed. Like I was pissed off about how being in the pandemic and all that stuff. But like, maybe we deserved it a little bit. Not all of us.
Maybe that's gonna be the name of your book. Maybe we deserved it a little bit. A post-pandemic recap by Ben Bankas.
Well, I mean,
Audio
you
book
can't
only.
look. You can't imagine we never had the pandemic. Would our life even be fun? We would. I feel like we
wouldn't
all would have
know.
been dead by now. Or something.
2 years of just not locking.
You know how many
down?
car accidents were avoided by lockdowns?
Environmental goals as well. Greta's very happy. Greta's not happy though. Is the thing. Have you seen Greta lately? Before I move on to Greta,
The environmental
Ford-
thing. I think that the environment didn't really get that much better.
Doug Ford swallowing a bee though. Where were you when that happened?
I don't know. Probably on Instagram. Seeing everybody post it going, oh yeah. I think I made a short clip of that. Sometimes people are just like, you have to do this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ugh, I really don't want to do it, but I'm like, I'll do it. And then it'll like be so like people, you pretty much were the one who was like, put the tits on, put that wig on. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay. And I was like, to my fiance, like, should I do it? Yes, okay, and do it. And
I have
now you told him to do it. He got the real breasts.
David
though.
Manzi's got the real things. Is he over there?
No, but
Oh,
I'm
he was
so
supposed to.
jealous.
He
that,
that's my bit with people.
he's gonna go viral. He's so excited.
I like to message people whose profession I'm not in and tell them ideas, but I got to do it seldomly because I don't want people telling me, "Hey, you should do this, this." And this
I like
all the
doing
time.
that too. I tell you what to do. I
That's
want to be
true.
your producer.
I text Bryson Gray and be like, "You should make a song about this."
Who's that?
A rapper.
You're a rap fan?
Yeah,
Is that
I
like
am.
a freedom rapper?
He is, yeah.
Oh god.
He's good though. I wouldn't listen to it if it wasn't
I
good.
don't believe in the.
Yeah, that's what
I
it sounds.
believe in the freedom in the world.
It's not like that. It's not like a Michael Jackson song.
Trudeau locked us down. I don't know what to
He's
do.
not
I've got a
from
frown
Canada.
on my face. Oh, he's not from Canada.
No, but you should now. Here's an idea for you.
Become a freedom rapper.
Just do a sketch as a freedom rapper. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. You in a do-rag with a sweatband over
That
it.
is pretty funny.
Yeah, that is.
Yo, I wish I was free, but I live in Winnipeg. It's sad out here.
You gotta do it before Ryan Long does it.
Yeah.
Shout out Ryan Long. He's from the same town as me.
Yeah. I feel like Ryan's over Canada.
Wouldn't you be? I would be if I could.
Yeah. But I feel like it's still your home. It's like when,
Still my home. Where the Patriots
I
live.
still almost care more about Canadian stuff than American stuff.
But we could do stuff and it wouldn't
Not if
affect
I-
any other country.
Well, I think we're starting because we're becoming such a global community. I think that people are starting to. I almost feel like more people know who Trudeau is around the world than.
Yeah,
You know?
Trudeau is definitely like a known character because he was so bad. Like the trucker stuff got him pretty well known. Once you start seizing people's bank accounts and the pastor stuff, like so he hits all these different markets, right? Like he does blackface, and black people are probably just like either that's funny or that's really offensive. Goes to India, makes a fool of himself. A lot of this Indian people are just like, who the hell's that guy? Truckers across the world are just like, what, they're seizing people's bank accounts. So many of these, like he hits all these different markets to enrage people. So I feel like that's why he's so well known around the world.
Yeah,
Australia
I think
probably
also,
loves him.
Yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of liberals like him from around the world. Like liberals in the States are like, oh, Justin Trudeau is just so amazing.
Because they're all in a club, man. They're all in this.
But
this
aren't we in a club? We're in a clubhouse.
I
right
mean,
now.
I suppose, but like, I don't want to make anybody stay inside. is the
Everybody's in
difference.
clubs. You have to choose a club, even if you don't really belong. People will be like, you mostly belong, so you can come over here.
What club are you in?
I don't know.
Forest Hill Club. We
I'm
drove
in
through
the
there
trying to delete my podcast so I can get a JFL taping club.
Just for Laughs for the people who don't know what that is.
Yeah.
I grew up watching a lot of Just for Laughs. Backstage with Binder, I was a big fan of that.
I want to work
What
for
was his
Just
name?
for Laughs. I want to do it because I always
Just blow
watched it
through
growing
that, that's
up.
fine.
And yeah, who?
Who's the guy who was on like CBC and all the Canadian channels? Indian guy.
Yeah. No, he's super funny.
Yeah.
From Halifax.
Dave Chappelle, of course, early on there.
Everybody's done JFL, but my thing is, I'm trying to grow my following. I'm trying to be funny, and I'm trying to I'm trying to be myself.
You know what? There's another question I wanted to ask you, and we'll put it behind the paywall. So this is the time to ask to tell people. RebelNewsPlus.com, $8 a month to get the bonus segment, and you'll get the story we're about to ask Ben about being canceled. So you'll get the full Streeter video that we did, extended footage of that, and you'll get the extra bonus segment of this interview if you go to RebelNewsPlus.com and sign up today for this show.
I think you have camel toe a bit.
Thanks for watching another episode of Andrew Says. To get the full version of the show with bonus segments, go to RebelNewsPlus.com and sign up now.